think you've talked before about it's not who starts, but how you finish. And I guess Josh, whole fourth quarter and the contribution he made down the stretch there.
Yeah, hard-fought game. I thought we got off to a good start. Then we got into foul trouble. And then we finished the half pretty good. And then we were at our best in the fourth. And a lot of guys stepped up. I thought Cat's presence, Josh all-around play, doing what Josh does, everything. I thought Deuce gave us good minutes when Jalen was in foul trouble. OG was terrific throughout. Mitch gave us good minutes. And then Landry and Delon did a really good job as well.
Tom, obviously Towns 20 in the fourth. Just was there a concerted effort to seek him and hunt him, especially with the lineups that you had on the floor?
Well, I think that's sort of the mantra of the team. They're unselfish guys. When someone gets going, right, you try to continue to keep them going, and that's recognizing what's working. And so is everyone working together to find open shots for them, which I think is important.
Tom, you often talk about like next man up mentality. Right over here, Delon and Landry, two veterans who hadn't played much, were out there on the floor when you guys really started to stabilize that. I guess the importance of having veterans on a team like this.
Yeah, the high character guys, and both guys have done a good job. And we picked up Delon late, but Landry's been terrific all year. And he had the unfortunate injury in training camp or preseason. But he's played really well, and he's great for the team. He's always ready, and the same could be said for Delon. So they're really, really good pros. And when I say that, I mean they do the right thing every day, and that goes a long way. It's not just lip service; it's actually doing the actual work, which I think is important.
Tom, your guys, over the course of time since you've been with the Knicks, they play tough, they play through injuries, but Carl was grabbing his knee pretty good, and then Josh fell awkwardly on his knee. Do you have any concern with either of those guys for Game 4?
No, I don't know if you're aware, but our medical team is voted the best in the league. They are tough-minded. I think it's at this time of the year, the mental toughness is probably more important than the physical toughness, and both of those guys are mentally tough, which I think is huge.
Delon and Landry, obviously, you just said, had such a big impact. What about the game did you see that had you give them all that, playing time and more playing time than they usually get?
Well, foul trouble probably helped. Yeah, but like we were going to play him, put him in the rotation just to get a different look, and it ended up unfolding because Deuce picked up 3 fouls in a minute and 22. I don't know if I've ever seen that before. So there was, some unusual calls, to say the least.
Tom, that's what I was going to ask you about Deuce, those 3 quick fouls, but then he had that one spurt where I think he scored 7 or 8 points in a row for you guys.
Yeah, it's not easy to do, particularly when, like you go to the bench after a minute and then you got to still stay in the game mentally. And so, but I thought his intensity was huge for us. He's a catalyst. It's his defense, his hustle, and I think it gives people energy when you see him flying around like that.
Tom, it's now 3 wins when you've been down by 20 in the playoffs. Can you kind of put into words what that's like as someone who's been around this game for a long time?
Yeah, and I think it's, sort of in playoff basketball, I know you guys like roll your eyes when I say no lead is safe, but no lead is safe because I think with the 3-point shot, people make up ground quickly, pace of the game, make up ground quickly. So you see comebacks all the time, and if you let up just a little bit, that's what happens. And so you got to win games different ways. Obviously, you prefer to play from a lead, but if whatever it is that you have to do, that's what you have to do to get the win in the end. And going into the game, we talked about you don't play the series, you play the game. Just focus in on what it takes to win tonight's game. That's all we're thinking about.
Hey, Tom, the lineup change. What can you kind of take us through? What went into that decision?
We could.
You could,
but we won't.
You did though. You did actually. You actually did it. So what went behind actually doing it?
Yeah, just and again the same thing. And I said this to you guys. earlier, it really didn't impact either guy from a minute standpoint. So to me, when Mitch was coming off the bench, he's a starter coming off the bench. Josh comes off the bench, he's a starter coming off the bench. Their minutes are going to be the same, and both guys mix and match. They both guys are comfortable with both units. And the thing that I love about Josh is the unselfishness. Like he's one, like you're concerned because you're not only impacting him, but you're impacting other guys in the starting lineup. So you got to make sure that that's all good, and then you're also impacting the second unit in a different way. So then you got to figure out, okay, how can we put this all together where we can make it work? And so that also factored into those other guys working in, so we could get all the things that each guy provided for both units.
Tom, can you talk a little bit more? I know you said people realized he was hot and they were doing the ball to cat, but I mean, he was dunking, he was shooting threes. I mean, he was doing it when Jalen, your other top scorers, in major foul trouble. What's that like to watch for you guys?
That's great. I think everyone has different strengths and weaknesses, and so we always talk about playing smart. And when you're playing smart, you're playing to your strengths and you're covering up your weaknesses. So you can't get here without being a great player. So whatever it is that you do great, that's what we want you to lock into, and not only understanding what you do well, but also understand what your teammates do well. So lead them into the things that they do well and cover up what their weaknesses are. When you do that, you're playing smart and you're enhancing your chances of winning. And Cat, as we know, is a very gifted scorer. He can score 3 different levels. He's comfortable at the three-point line. He's comfortable putting it on the floor. He's comfortable playing back to the basket. So as long as he stays aggressive, it's a huge plus for us. And then the double team comes, and then he can make off that.
Tom, we don't see Jalen on the bench often when you guys are playing well in the fourth quarter. Obviously, he has the foul trouble. He comes off, I think, 7 minutes to go. He comes back 1:45 or so. How are you determining, all right, it's time to go back to Jalen at this point?
Probably more time and score, and just, trying to get it to the point where you felt like, okay, what do we need in the game right now? And the group was sort of in a good rhythm. So we probably went a little bit longer than normal, but I didn't like it. It was hard, like even Mikhail's last foul, it was hard to judge how they were calling the game. So that was a big concern. And I knew we had to have him down the stretch. So,
Tom, less specifically about who got added to the rotation tonight, but normally as the series goes along, especially if it's a 2-0 deficit or something, a coach will shorten the rotation. You decided to lengthen yours. How did you come to that decision to kind of expand it to 9?
Whatever gives your team the best chance to win. I don't really. You guys always, I know you try to put everything into a box. I don't work that way. So, like people think, I want a low-scoring game. No, I just want one more point than they have. I don't care if it's low-scoring, high-scoring, medium-scoring. I just want to win. That's the bottom line. Whatever gives us the best chance to win, that's what we're going to do. And so that's what I felt was going to give us the best chance to win tonight's game. So that's why we did it.